Hello everybody, welcome to the Python tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to calculate the average marks of some students in a number of tests. In doing so, I will create a list that stores the student marks in some number of tests. And here, my number of students and the number of tests can vary. And then we find out the average of the marks in each of the tests. In my implementation, I will restrict the use of built-in functions. Okay, let's see the implementation. Suppose I have a list that stores the student marks. The marks for the first student, Andy, will be having 3 tests. So Andy has got these 3 marks for her 3 tests. And then I will have another student called Bonnie that also has taken 3 tests. Okay, how about the third student? She's Carol. She has taken 3 tests. The other one is Doris. Okay, after I've got the list of lists that store the student marks, I would like to find out the average of the marks in each of the tests. So I would like to find out the average along the vertical code direction shown on the screen here. So I want to take out the average value of these 4 marks, followed by the average of these 4 marks, and followed by the average of these 4 marks. So I will have the average marks for each of the 3 tests. That means I'm going to pick up the elements wisely in order to find out the required averages. My implementation is like this. I first create an empty list that is going to store the total mark of each of the tests. So in this each test total list, there will be 3 elements, each storing the total marks of the students for each of the tests. Here, each student has taken 3 tests, so I can be pretty sure that the number of tests is equal to the number of elements in the student elements index 0 minus 1. So for example, I have 3 tests. Together with the name of the student, there are 4 elements in the student 0 list. Okay, so 4 minus 1 will be equal to 3, so I can simply pick up the number of marks in this student 0 list. Remember, student 0 refers to the first element of the student's list, which is actually the list that stores the marks for Andy. Okay, I can also figure out the number of students by finding out the number of elements in the students list. So there are altogether 4 elements in this student list. And then I'm going to do a for loop to prepare my each test total list that will be going to store the total marks coming from each of the tests. Okay, I'm going to add zeros to the each test total list. Since I don't know the number of tests taken by the students, I can use this method called range command. And when I have this range command, I can simply pick up 3 from the number of tests according to my input data. Okay, so test index will be having numbers 0, 1, and 2. So I will hack up 3 zeros to the each test total list. It is a way for us to pick the appropriate number of zeros, even though we don't know the correct number of tests taken by the students. We can simply pick up this information directly by using the range command together with the num tests variable. And then I will have 2 level for loops. In the 2 level for loop, I'm going to figure out the values contained in the information given, and I'm going to sum up all these values particularly to the particular test. So I will store the total marks coming from a test by this following line of code. Okay, what does it mean by this line of code? Plus 0 means that I'm going to accumulate the mark coming from a particular test, and I will loop over each of the student information, and from each student information I will pick up the correct mark for the particular test, and the student index is going to help me figure out the current student being investigated, and text index refers to the particular test number. I want to add 1 here because text index starts from 0. Remember, the range object will start from 0 if I use range num tests in this way. Okay, so since the first element in this student list is Annie, I have to jump over the first element in order to pick up the second element from this tiny list. So if text index is 0, I have to go to the second element, which is indicated by 0 plus 1 here. So I will jump to the mark and skip the name. Okay. And then I'm going to find out the average mark for each of the tests. Here, this line of code tells us to append the average mark for each of the tests into the each test average list. I don't know the number of tests taken by the students, so I can use the range numTest command to help me find out the number of append action to do in order to complete the each test average list. And of course here, len refers to the length of a list, which is equal to 4 in my given information. And then I can print out the marks. Okay, let's run the program. Oh, there is an error here. Let me check. Oh, I have to put the parenthesis here rather than there. Okay, let me try again. Okay, I can get the average mark for test 1 coming from these 4 students as this value, and for the for test 2, the average mark coming from these 4 students will be equal to 91. That means I get the average value for these 4 marks. And finally, for test 3, I will have 80.5 marks for test 3 coming from the 4 students here. Our implementation is intuitive and straightforward, but it may not be the most efficient solution to the problem. If you can suggest any improvement of my code, feel free to post your code on the comment section below the video. And if you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.